All right. So good afternoon, everyone. So once again, a pleasant afternoon to all our attendees. I am Lester once again, and on behalf of Apex Global, we warmly welcome you all and thank you for joining us in this session. So wherein we will emphasize skill-based work environments, which are increasingly becoming more important. In these environments, employees' skills and capabilities are valued more highly than traditional factors like education, job title, and tenure. This forward thinking approach is rapidly gaining traction as it aligns perfectly with the evolving landscape of the work environment. So, in celebration of International HR Day, we at Apex Global Learning are hosting this 1 hour exposure. During this webinar, our expert speaker will share insights on how focusing on skills rather than degrees can help you expand talent pools, improve retention, and build a more resilient and inclusive workforce. So today we are privileged to have Mr. Norman here. So Mr. Norman Adriano offers 3 decades of corporate experience, excelling in managerial and executive roles across very diverse industries. Sir Norman's career spans managerial consultancy, academic leadership, and corporate training, a testament to his versatility. As program chair at Thames International Business School, he's committed to shaping the next generation of HR professionals. Sir Norman seamlessly blends theoretical knowledge with practical know-how, in pursuit of HR excellence and organizational success. And once again, we would also have some exciting offers for the webinar attendees towards the end. So stay tuned and I'm sure you will love them. So without further ado, I'll turn the time over to Sir Norman. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Lester, and good afternoon to everyone. If I may request everyone to turn on their video cam so that I can see you and I feel that I'm closer to you. So I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, do you see it, Lester? Okay ba?
Sir, it's currently in presenter view.
Okay, so let's see. Yan,
It's okay
okay
now,
na
sir.
siya. Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much. Okay, so good afternoon again, everyone. I hope that we'll have a very productive 1 hour discussion about building skill-based work environments. Okay, so these are our topics for today. For the next hour, we will be talking about understanding skills-based hiring, effective sourcing strategies, competency mapping, assessment techniques, skill-based ladders and internal roadmaps, and lastly, reducing attrition through career development. Okay, so let's start. So first, we have to define the skills. Okay, so when we talk about skills, we are actually not just talking about technical skills, but we are actually also including human capabilities like EI or emotional intelligence and potential. So this will be on top of the other technical skills like for example, coding, critical thinking, and accounting. So we look at workers as unique individuals with different skills, interests, motivations, and work preferences. Okay, so let's have a quick poll. Okay, hiring for skills is 5 times more predictive of job performance than hiring for education, and more than 2 times more predictive than hiring for work experience. Lester?
Wait, sir. I think we're currently having technical difficulties with the poll. So everyone, can you just state
So
your
okay, okay. What we can do is I will ask everyone to put your answers on the chat box. Okay. So do you agree, disagree, or you don't have any opinion at all? Okay. Oh, there you are. There's the quick poll. Okay, so that we will see. Okay. So there it is. So agree. Okay, neutral. Okay? So that's okay. So parang almost the same, no? Yung agree and neutral. Okay? So, and that is why it will be an interesting discussion because 5 out of 9 attendees agree and 4 out of 9 neutral. They have no opinion. Okay. So again, what we are asking is, do you agree or disagree that hiring for skills is 5 times more predictive of job performance than hiring for education? Okay. And more than 2 times more predictive than hiring for work experience. Okay. So we will proceed. We will proceed. Okay. So as you will see here, okay, skills-based organization actually, when we say that we have a skills-based organization, we actually prioritize skills and capabilities in talent strategies. Okay? Creating new workforce operating model. It considers individuals as whole, as a whole person, and aligns their capabilities with organizational needs. Okay? So we have here at the left side, the circle, okay, we have this human-led digitally enabled. So this will actually give you an idea what we're talking about when we say that we're looking at skills-based talent and reward practices. Okay. And then at the right side of the slide, we have here the skills building blocks. Okay. So of course, because these are building blocks, we're starting from below. Okay, so we have here the skills strategy, skills management, and skills data. And going up, you will see on the first column that we're going up to the executives and subject matter experts. Okay, so we have the objectives and purpose, and the why or the purpose. Why are we doing this? Is we want to increase productivity and engagement. So you will see here at the rightmost side questions. What are we going to do? How, why, and who are involved? Who will be benefited? Okay. So the future of work is a skills-based organization model. And this is actually attested. If you visit the World Economic Forum website, they always have there a listing of the future of skills. Okay. And the last time I took a look, they listed the skills that will be needed by 2025. Okay. I'm not just sure if they have already updated that, but there are many skills listed there. And they say that those are the skills that will be important by 2025. Okay. So now we're going to talk about upskilling, reskilling, and all the others. These are the language for growth. Okay, when we do conversations in our organization, okay, these are the things that we should be talking about. So we'll go through them one by one. What is upscaling? Okay, any process that helps someone answer the following question: what additional skills do I need to progress in my current career? Okay, it's about enabling employees to accelerate their progression up traditional linear career paths. Kaya upscaling siya, pataas. How about reskilling? Being able to answer the following question. What skills do I need to transition from one department to another? Because the movement may be upwards, but it can also be lateral, right? So how can I change lanes? Okay? It happens when employees' interests and ambitions change and they want to transition into a new team or department. Okay? Gusto kong lumipat na, ayoko na dito where I am. Let's talk about cross-skilling. Okay? Recognizing that since we're living in a dynamic world, there are some skills that everyone will need. Okay? Regardless of the role they're in. Meron tayong parang foundation skills, foundational na skills. Kahit saan ka nando, dapat meron kang ganong skills. The purpose is to develop a portfolio of those skills that are valuable across multiple verticals, functions, or domains. No? It answers the question, what skills will serve me across various roles and industries? Okay? Next is skill mapping. It is the exercise of building a database of how skills align to each role in our organization and to each employee across the company. Ito yung laddering up to provide aggregate skill visibility within departments, geographies, and even organizations at large. How about skill taxonomy? So this is the internal database of employee skills, experiences, goals, and roles. Generally, it will include a combination of technical abilities and soft skills. The skills inventories can help HR professionals identify where critical skills sit within their organization, indicating where to invest in training and upskilling to overcome the gaps, and where to prioritize future hiring needs. Lastly, we have skills ontology. It is a structured representation of skills that organizes and categorizes them to understand each skill's definition and the relationship between those skills. Okay. Next is we're going to talk about some reports that we researched. No, so why do we need skill-based work environment? PwC or PricewaterhouseCoopers says that they that only 26% of business and HR leaders believe that they can definitively identify future skills, highlighting the critical workforce challenge. On the other hand, the Manpower Group shows a concerning trend. Okay, they're saying that 77% of employers expected to face talent challenges in 2023. Okay, up from 69% in 2021 and 54% in 2019. So, yung tumataas yung statistics na mahirap mag-hire. Okay? So, if we look at yung career progression from career 1.0 to career 4.0, we will look at the what's happening, ano ba yung trend. Okay? So, in the 1950s to the 1980s, the company is the career. Okay? And the leading companies there was IBM, Xerox, and GE, General Electric. The company took care of you. These companies took care of you. Okay? Functional yung career models. Merong mga high potential models and merong career growth pero you have to wait patiently, no? You wait your turn kasi hindi lang naman ikaw ang nandun sa pipeline, okay? And then afterwards, you return at maybe in the Philippines 60, well, in the US 65. And then comes Career 2.0. Ito yung 1980s to 1990s, okay? And ang mga companies there are, you as a career, LinkedIn, Monster.com, yan, yung mga proponents, no? Change jobs to grow, move to fast-growing company, publish your resume online, and you have to manage your own career. Actually, talking about this, I looking back, ito yung nangyari sa akin, no? You know, I was working for a company where it was a very lean company. Okay, I was senior manager. Up, my boss is a director, and the director reports to the GM. So very lean, and I thought that for me to be able to move up, I have to move out. So yun yung yun yung decision ko. Okay, so I have to change jobs to grow, and it happened. Okay, and then come the 2000s to the 2020s, yan yung your work as your career. Okay, yung mga companies would be Uber, Google, Amazon, Upwork, Coursera, Udacity. Udacity. Okay, so the career is defined through your experiences. Okay? Find the best opportunities and digitalize your skills. Okay? You find your purpose. And now we are here. Okay? Today and beyond is Career 4.0. Your skills as your career. Okay? So every employer today, so ano na yan, lahat na. Almost all companies. Yan na yung tinitingnan. Your skills define your worth. Tama? Internal talent marketplaces, learning in the flow of work, T-shaped careers, okay? And we are all service workers. So we never stop learning because we have to have enough knowledge and skills so that we will be able to uh, progress in our career. So makita niyo rito yung progression, no? First is company as career, and then you as a career, your work as a career, and then your skills as a career. Okay? Next, okay? As an example, there's a leading market agency in the Philippines, and then they have a project. So, meron silang bagong kliyente, and then kailangan nilang mag-assemble ng team for that project. So, ito yung project requirement. Okay, a campaign that includes digital marketing, graphic design, and copywriting. Nandito sila nahirapan mag-assemble ng team kasi andun yung talents, no? Available yung skills inside. Okay, so meron silang digital marketing strategies, graphic designer, copywriter. Okay, it doesn't matter kung saan sila manggagaling, nandun sila sa loob. Okay, madaling kunin para ilagay sa isang project. Which is, kapag skills-based ang company, yun yung kanyang isa sa mga powers ng company kasi very very agile, very flexible, no? Makaka makaka makakagawa sila, makaka-assemble agad sila ng team to do the project. So, yun yung benefit, flexibility, adaptability if you are in a skills-based work environment. Diba? Even yung mga team members, they may rotate between different projects over time. And this is actually happening now. This is not an ideal setting that we are just dreaming of. Nangyayari to ngayon. Okay? So allowing them to apply their skills in various contexts and collaborate with different colleagues. And of course, with the use of, some of them are working from home. They're using technology so that they can collaborate. So most project management, especially in software development, right, and other services, no, ito na nangyayari. It enhances teamwork and creativity during, in the process. And of course, because you already have the skills internally, you leverage the skills, making the company agile and responsive. Okay? Maganda yung, kaya that's what we need today in skills-based work environment. Okay, next, we have a quick activity and I will just ask you to use the Zoom chat box, no, to answer. So objective natin is to highlight and discuss specific skills among HR professionals such as you guys, no, that contribute to a skill-based organization. What I want you to do is think about an important skill for your success as an HR person, okay? And then write it in the Zoom box. Lagyan nyo ng a rating, okay, from 1 to 10. For example, empathy, ang rating is 8. So, okay, so you can do that now. So let me see your answers. Okay, think about an important skill for HR success and then you rate it. And then we will discuss. Wala akong nakikitang sagot. Tama ba? Walang sagot? Guys? Yun. Yan, okay. So yan. So, Sneha said talent sourcing 9. Abby, team building 8. Okay. Reveni, conflict resolution 9. Okay. So yan yung skills. We're spotlighting the skills, no? Ano ba yung mga kailangan natin para labor relations management is 9. Okay. So, okay. So, CM Bargan. Okay, may I ask why you say LRM is 9? CM? Sorry, CM lang because I don't know the name, no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I think because
So what's your first name?
Christian, you
What's
can
your
call
first
me
name first?
Christian Morgan, Sir Norman.
Christian.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. I think 9. I guess as a professional, it's a bit harder for me in terms of managing the interaction of different employees within the organization, especially resolving conflicts that relates to labor relations. So I think it's a very important skill because HR is really the go-to management for it.
Yeah. Just to inquire, in labor relations management, what's the specific skill that you really need to be able to say that, okay, I'm a success in this? What skill, specific skill in labor relations management?
I guess would
I
be
hope I'm not putting you
I think it was mentioned more of like conflict resolution and any concerns about
conflict resolution.
working
Yeah,
conditions of employees.
yeah, correct. And I guess if I may add that we may also include, and just at the top of mind is of course communicating. Aside from conflict resolutions, the communication, right? It's very
Yes, that's
important.
true.
Keeping communication channels between between yourself and the employees. Okay. Helena says empathy is 9. Of course, diba? Very important kasi for us to be able to really communicate, and we must have a feel for the employee, and that's empathy. Okay. Putting ourselves in their shoes. Walking walking in their shoes. Diba? Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, so we go to the next. Okay, so here we're looking at where we are today. We are here, the steps that we need to do so that we can have a skills-based organization. Number one is understanding skills-based hiring. Okay, so here there's again a quick poll. Okay, so what, according to you, are the top hiring challenges? Okay, so I guess just put it in Zoom. Oh yeah, here we have a quick poll. Okay, so what, according to you, are the top hiring challenges? So you may have one, no, you may have one answer, more than one answer. I mean, okay, okay. So validating skills, competencies, and references is turning out to be number one. Okay, number two is as assessing worker effectiveness and success. And then pareho yung 2 and 4 choices. Okay? Okay, so let's take a look at the result of a survey that was actually done. Okay? Ito yan. So, you hit it right, no? Ito yung top hiring challenges. Number one is validating skills and competencies and references. Okay? Sourcing job seekers with the right skills and getting them to apply. Assessing worker effectiveness and success, and onboarding new hires. Yan yung top 4. Okay? Okay, so makikita nyo na yung opinion nyo about yung mga top hiring and talent challenges are talagang yun yung nangyayari all over dun sa US, no, where this was done by McKinsey. Okay? Now, why skills-based hiring? Okay, 63% of organizations that embed a skills-based approach are more likely to achieve results than those that have not adopted skills-based practices. And then ito yung mga nakita dun sa research, no? Tingnan natin, skills-based organizations are 107% more likely to place talent effectively. Okay? 98% of them are more likely to have a reputation as a great place to grow and develop. 98% of them are more likely to retain high performers. 79% of them are more likely to have a positive workforce experience. 57% are more likely to anticipate change and respond effectively and efficiently. 50% are more likely to innovate. Okay? 49% are more likely to improve processes to maximize efficiency. And lastly, 47% are more likely to provide an inclusive environment. Okay? So makita nyo rito na ito yung mga dahilan bakit we should shift to skills-based hiring. Ang daming benefits. Okay? Okay. And then other researches, no? Yung Lightcast tsaka yung Boston Consulting Group analyzed 20 million job postings. And they saw that there's a steady decrease in degree requirements. Ibig sabihin, most companies, hindi na tinitingnan yung degree, yung college degree, across various industries, particularly in the US. Okay, dun sa ano nila, dun sa research nila, it showed that skills-based hires tend to stay longer with the same company. And if you look at the statistics here, okay, different industries, 90% longer average tenure of skills-based hires. Okay? So yun, ito yun. Average tenure at the same company, yung skills-based hires, 4.7, yung mga traditional hires, meaning they hired, ang primary reason for hiring is the degree, yung college degree. Okay, dito skills. Okay, so that means they did not look at a degree, or maybe they hired people who didn't have a degree. Okay, okay. So understanding skills-based hiring. Okay, yung munang sa baba, the research shows only 13% of graduates possess job-ready skills immediately upon graduation. Alam naman natin to, this is a fact. Even in the Philippines, there is a disconnect between the the skills that graduates have versus what companies really need, right? And that is why um, there's ongoing development ng mga curricula to make sure na merong yung gap will be removed, yung gap, no, ma-fulfill. Pero that has been a long process. Until now, hindi pa natin na-achieve yun. Okay, in 2019, just let me give you a story or a sample. In 2019, the the uh yung TESDA introduced, yung TESDA is the TechVoc, okay, agency in the Philippines, TESDA. Okay? Nag-ano sila, nag-introduce sila nung micro credentialing program. That means they are giving training based on specific individual skills. Okay? Dati, TESDA gives a whole program which takes a while before participants can complete. Now, kung ano lang yung kailangang skill, yun lang ang kukunin, and immediately after given a certification, the person can already apply the skill. So, di ba, mas, yun yung mas convenient for everyone, because kung ano lang yung skill, yun lang ang the skill that will have to be taken. Okay? So organization needs skills-based hiring program to identify, engage, and hire talent. Okay? So that it suggests, of course, that specific skills and experiences rather than formal education or degrees, okay, are being focused on. It's gained traction as technological advancements demand quick skill adaptation. Okay. Okay. So what are the factors for skills-based hiring? Number one, we should consider technological progress, because it necessitates a workforce that is constantly learning, because the progress is continuing. Okay, so dapat yung learning, so that people can adapt, should be constant din or consistent din, in step with the technological progress. Okay, second, companies face talent shortages due to low unemployment rates, and we're talking about the US here. Okay, dito in the Philippines, hindi unemployment, or uh, we have the wrong people for the jobs. Okay, so underemployment. Okay, not necessarily just unemployment, underemployment. And the workforce is aging. Of course, dito hindi rin nag-apply, because if you look at the spread of population, the more the workforce actually mas malaki, na young workforce. Okay, companies are undergoing changes in their recruitment strategies due to the increasing demand for flexibility and mobility among today's workers. We know this for a fact that, after the pandemic, I mean the surge of the pandemic, when it waned down, people got used to working from home or working from anywhere, and they don't want to work on site. Okay, the value of self taught skills and experiences is also increasingly recognized. Okay, and this is of course in the U.S. because most of the researches were done in the U.S. I'm sorry. Okay. So number two, effective sourcing strategies. Okay. So 30%, 36% of the workforce is actively looking for a new opportunity at any given time. Okay. So talent sourcing involves actively seeking qualified candidates, engaging with them to fill current and future positions. Okay? But talent recruiting attracts numerous applicants, di ba? So including those unaware of your company with outsourcing efforts like recruitment. So pag hindi ka when you don't have an advertisement for, for an open position in your company, uh, you actually are just consider you are limited to your recruiting. Okay, so research shows that source candidates, okay, are over 2 times as effective as applicants, with 1 in every 72 hired compared to 1 in every 152 external applicants, despite the latter's active interest. Okay. Next, what are the strategies for effective sourcing? There are six. Okay. So number one is explore LinkedIn Recruiter. LinkedIn, we know, is the world's largest professional network. It has about 900 million members across 200 countries and regions. This expansive platform provides recruiters with unparalleled access to a vast talent pool. Okay, I personally use LinkedIn if I'm looking for talents, no, for either for my organization or for friends who are asking me. One such tool that you can find in LinkedIn Recruiter is, in LinkedIn is the what we call LinkedIn Recruiter. And it empowers recruiters and hiring managers with numerous capabilities, including candidate sourcing and engagement. In addition to its extensive talent network, LinkedIn Recruiter offers various benefits such as advanced search capabilities, access to passive candidates. Passive candidates, these are people who are not actively looking for their next job, okay? And insights and analytics. Considering the specific needs of your candidate search, LinkedIn Recruiter can be a valuable addition to your sourcing strategies. Okay? Number two is creating and maintaining a sourcing pipeline. So what can we do? We utilize the data from previous candidates stored in your company's applicant tracking system or ATS, no? To establish and sustain a sourcing pipeline. This data can serve as the foundation for your sourcing out pipeline. Additionally, consider including passive candidates in your pipeline. Okay? Para mas malaking net. Those individuals who are not actively seeking new opportunities at the moment. Yun yung sabi ko nga earlier, these are the passive candidates, no? Alternatively, you may choose to create a separate pipeline for these passive candidates, so, as they have yet to undergo the same vetting process, okay? Next is um, create an ideal candidate persona, okay? To effectively source candidates, what you can do is create an ideal candidate persona. This involves creating a profile that outlines the skills, experiences, and characteristics of the desired candidate. So gumagawa ka ng, parang description of a person that you need for a particular job. So yung candidate persona. So how to do that? You can focus on the most, you can do that by focusing on the most relevant candidates, okay? And then so that you can increase the likelihood that your messaging will resonate with the target audience, okay? Mahirap gawin yung persona, but it will help you a lot, okay? Now, optimize careers page, okay? In the middle of so many great talent sourcing strategies available, the importance of the good old careers page can sometimes be overlooked. Diba? Yung careers page, when you look at a website, merong careers page doon sa mga companies, okay? Because the careers page plays a key role in your employer branding strategy. It deserves dedicated attention, yung careers page. Kasi you think of it as a passive sourcing channel. Ito naman passive sourcing, no? When job seekers search for your company name followed by careers, yun yung lalabas. Okay? So this highlights the opportunity to maximize its potential and develop a deliberate strategy for it. Okay? Okay. Next, in number 5 is think of your customers as ideal candidates. Bakit? Because when it comes to recruiting, uh, have you considered targeting your customers as ideal candidates, di ba? Hindi ba natin naisip na, oh, itong mga customers ko, loyal sa akin to, baka positive ang impact if I get them as employees, naman. It may seem unconventional, but it can be a highly effective approach. Kasi just think about the recruitment posters sa local supermarket, for example, no? Customers who have interacted with your organization have first-hand experience with your products, right? Your products and of course and services and the brand. This gives them unique insights into your organizational values, culture, offerings. Okay, dahil customer mo sila, kilala ka nila. So by leveraging those insights, you can tap into a pool of potential candidates who already align with your business. They're already aligned with your business because they are actually your customers, okay, supporting your products and services by buying them. Diba? So not to mention, your customers are often loyal and passionate about your brand. Kaya nga customer mo sila. Which yung passion, yung loyalty are qualities that can translate into becoming a valuable part of your team. Okay? Now, lastly, in number 6, of course, we should consider internal candidates. Okay? We should not overlook the people who we already have inside the organization. Dapat yun yung first, di ba? Yung first na gagawin. Meron ba tayong tao internally? Okay? Additionally, yung mga internal recruiters, for example, can capitalize on the existing talent pool, saving both time and money. Kasi alam naman natin, it is expensive and time-consuming to recruit people. Okay? And there are certain jobs that who require people with specific skills and talents na ang hirap hanapin. Okay? Or marami kasing naghahanap, so nag-aagawan dun sa pool na yon. Okay? So number 3 is competency mapping. So competency mapping is yung activity that identifies the skills, behaviors, abilities, and knowledge needed for a job. So if you have a job, you have to map the competencies that are needed to fulfill the requirements of the job. Okay? And if you do that, you start with your goals. Ano ba yung goals ng organization? Laging nakatayap yan sa business objectives, sa goals, okay? Para alam natin that that particular job will actually contribute to the achievement of business goals, right? Okay, ito yung steps, no? Sa competency mapping that may be useful for you. Of course, HR planning, succession planning, job analysis, training and development, recruitment and selection, performance management, placement, and reward management. So it's a loop, okay? It's a loop. Now, why is competency mapping important? Okay, so there are four steps here, no? Sorry, four benefits or four importance. Okay, optimize employee performance, improve productivity, streamline hiring process, and increase morale. Okay, let's talk about optimized employee performance. Because competency mapping involves the evaluation of current employees, you can actually identify existing strengths and weaknesses. So you are scanning the internal, pool that you have. This information, yung mga strengths and weaknesses, allows you to optimize the employees' potential by assigning them to tasks where they have the highest chances of success. Dahil kilala mo sila, ano yung weakness, ano yung strengths, no? Additionally, okay, you can create new training opportunities and identify other areas where you can better support your staff who have those weaknesses, di ba? So visibility is very important. So yun, okay? Kaya maganda yung meron kang competency mapping because Now, if you scan your internal pool of people or staff, then you will have visibility ng realities, yung strengths and weaknesses. Okay? Next, improve productivity. Competency mapping often more narrowly defines the roles within our organization. This specialization ensures that your staff or your employees can focus their talents, okay, on the most relevant tasks and rely on the peers, yung mga ibang mga empleyado yung kasama niya sa trabaho for support related to their expertise. Okay? As a result, your organization tend to experience outcomes like improved productivity and increased profits. Okay? Now, talking about streamlined hiring process. An organization or your organization who has clearly defined roles may experience a streamlined hiring process. Kasi define yung roles eh. Okay? Walang misalignment, walang doubling of tasks or activities, okay? Walang redundancies. It can use its competency mapping to write thorough job descriptions and attract talented employees with the appropriate applications, okay? As a result, you as hiring managers may have fewer resumes to review and can spend time interviewing candidates who are a good fit for the position. Okay. Additionally, retention rates tend to improve because new employees have foundational skills for their roles and receive optimized training. Okay. Lastly, increased morale. Siyempre, pag HR, we're always thinking of employee morale. Okay? Competency mapping can increase morale by outlining expectations and ensuring employees understand how to achieve good evaluation scores. Okay? Klaro kasi, visible kasi what is expected of me as an employee and how I will be measured, how my performance will be measured. Okay? Employees may also find it easier to ask supervisors for support when both parties are aware of expectations. Okay? Everything above the table, everything is visible. Additionally, because of that visibility or transparency, that results from competency mapping, it facilitates career development. Okay? So may walang mga empleyado na na-frustrate kasi parang iniisip na ano na nangyayari sa career ko, saan ba ako papunta? Building industry-related skills fosters innovation and prepares employees for more advanced positions within the company. Okay, so let me just give you a story, no? Some time ago, I think it was again in 2019, no? Um, there was this signing of a memorandum of agreement between the Philippine government and the Singapore government, wherein in Singapore kasi all of the jobs being done in Singapore meron yang skills framework. Okay? So ang tawag doon skills framework. So lahat ng jobs ginawa yan ng Singapore government to make sure na matutulungan nila lahat ng mga Singaporeans na nagtatrabaho. Okay? So, yung mga skills framework covers industries. The first skills framework that we did, okay, in reference to the Singapore skills framework is a skills framework for supply chain and logistics. Why? Because, during that time, nag-pandemic na, di ba? Alam naman natin, during the pandemic, the only people that can actually go out and work are are people in the supply chain because they have to deliver, they have to warehouse yung mga essential goods. Okay? So yun ang inuna. Okay? So but today we already have skills framework for gaming, for IT, business development, and so on and so forth. Madami nang nagawa. I don't know if you are aware. Now, why is it I am telling you this? Because as HR people, you don't have to start from scratch. Okay? Go and look for this skills framework because yung skills framework is a compendium or a listing of all the skills that are needed or competencies, okay, that are needed to do a job. Okay? So all you need to do is understand, okay, yung mga skills, yung mga competencies na yan, so that if you are going to do it, hindi ka mag-start from zero. Okay? Andyan na, meron na, and it's accepted globally. Okay? Hindi ka na mahihirapan. Okay? Okay, next. The types of competency mapping frameworks. I'm not going to discuss this in detail, but I'm just showing you that competency mapping has different frameworks. Ito sila, okay? And of course, these are frameworks just like yung skills framework, ang tawag doon Philippine Skills Framework. And you can find it in the DTI Department of Trade and Industry website. Okay, andun yon. Makita nyo, andun nakalista lahat ng mga frameworks. And it is ongoing, okay? It is ongoing kasi merong mga industries that are ang tawag nila priority industries that the government is working on so that the people working in those industries will be assisted. Okay? And therefore, including yung HR. Kasi ang HR ang nagpo-push ng, di ba, competency mapping. So hindi na kayo mahirapan. You're not starting from zero. Just take a look. Okay? So ito, mga frameworks din to. And then ito yung mga competency mapping tools. Okay? Merong IMOCA, skill-based, talent guard. Okay? Soft expert, HRSG, match skills. Siguro, some of you are already using one or two of these. Ano? Okay. And this is an example of competency mapping. So ang skill is problem solving in the engineering team definition. Problem solving refers to the ability of an individual to identify, analyze, and find solutions to complex challenges or issues. If you take a look at the Philippine Skills Framework that I was talking about, ganito rin yung itsura. Okay? Makita nyo, sa entry level, nakalagay dyan, ano yung mga, pag sinabi mong entry level, ano yung mga skills na pwede niyang gawin. Okay? And then as they move up the levels, nakikita nyo na, di ba, naiiba na. Okay? Hanggang sa makapunta rito sa level 3, dito sa example na to, na merong senior level. In the Philippine Skills Framework, I think there are 5 or 6 levels. Okay? Of course, alam naman natin na some jobs, some skills, no, some competency, hindi naman siya kailangan makarating sa highest level. Okay? And some jobs, you will find out na wala siyang level 1, for example. Ang responsibility or yung level ng skill or ng competency nag-start agad sa level 2. Okay? It can happen. Okay? Okay? Now, let's look at assessment techniques. Okay? So, ano yung mga assessment techniques? So, you take an inventory of the skills that you have in your company. So, you must conduct a comprehensive assessment of employees' current skills, knowledge, and abilities. Mahalaga yung skills inventory para alam mo what skills do I currently have and what are the business objectives para ma-match mo yung skills inventory mo sa requirement ng business. Okay? And the inventory can be done through self-assessments, evaluations of the leaders, and skill assessment tools. Job analysis, okay? You perform a detailed analysis of each job role within the organization, identify the specific skills and competencies required for success in each role, okay? So in job analysis is an expertise of an HR person. Should be, okay? Should be. Okay, next, competency frameworks. We've talked about this, okay? Develop a competency framework that outlines the key skills and behaviors needed for success in different roles. This framework should be aligned with as I said earlier, with the business objectives or goals and of course the values of the organization. Okay? We do performance reviews so that we can monitor what your performance and then we can incorporate the skills that are lacking, okay, or that needs improvement. Okay? So kaya kailangan natin ng review because kung if you are familiar with the total quality management, it's always a loop. Yung plan, do, check, act. And then plan, do, check, act. Diba? So ganun yung nangyayari dito. You review so that you will know kung if the skill assessments I mean if the competencies are there or do you lack certain competencies and then again you plan again and then you implement again and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, next assessment technique is a 360-degree feedback. Okay. So yung feedback is coming from multiple sources. If you look at this picture, okay, feedback comes from the immediate boss, the direct reports, okay, the peers and the customers. Next is the training needs analysis. Before you embark into training, first you have to have needs analysis where you identify gaps between the employee's current skills and the skills required for their roles. Okay? So yun yung kahalagahan kasi hindi naman lahat ng ano is I mean, pag nakita mo there's a gap, training agad. Okay? There are other things that can be done to fill the gap between what is needed and what is the actual performance. Okay? We now look at the skill-based ladders and internal roadmaps. Okay? So dito, because the competitive market today, I mean, in the market today is competitive when it comes to hiring talents. So we must track employee skills and invest in professional development. So kailangan lagi tayong we have the pulse of the what do we have in inventory, okay? So skills-based ladders or metrics are important for tracking progress and making data-driven decisions, okay? At yan, data-driven, that's key, no? Data-driven, before we do or decide on anything, should look at the data. What is the data telling us? Because the stories, okay, are can be seen, in the data. Okay, God is in the details. That includes ability, desire, and knowledge, and a refined range of possibilities to measure a workforce skills effectively. Okay, okay, so next is we're still on the skill-based ladders and roadmaps. So in step one, develop the skills. But the first, when we develop the skills, we define what skills mean. Okay, in your organization, what are those skills? Okay, and then effectively convey the commercial benefits. Why do we need those skills? Earlier, I said that we're doing this because we want to align with the business objectives, align and support the business objectives, the goals. And then after that, we break down and identify the needs. Divide jobs into work to be done or tasks to be completed. So we are going into the details now. And then organize work around outputs and skills. Understand the talents you require and identify what skills you have and can access. Okay. So skills inventory. Step three is adapting and managing the evolution. Okay. Utilize the skills as the foundation of HR processes. And then we assist the employees so that they can develop a skills portfolio. Okay? So yung development ng skills is some companies are doing this already. Okay? They have a list of skills so that parang part ng individual development program, okay? That the individual needs to develop. And then nakaano yan, meron siyang skills portfolio. Some individuals actually in some companies they have a certification program as a list of competencies or skills that naka-certify na sa kanila sa pangalan nila kasi they took the course for example or the training and then they passed the exams or the assessments, no? Enhance openness and visibility of skills, okay, and then facilitate adjustment and innovation, okay. So now how do we reduce attrition through career development? Ito yung mga tips, no? We conduct employee surveys. Okay? Research shows that there is a 16% decrease in retention rates if for employees who aren't comfortable giving upward feedback. Okay? So safe yung survey, very safe. Kasi hindi yan face-to-face na kailangan mo siyang i-interviewin, for example. Okay? Second one is don't rely on hearsay. Okay, 75% of professionals admit to gossiping about workplace concerns or co-workers. So don't rely on hearsay, okay? Kasi hindi yan, most of them siguro hindi siya facts, no? And it maybe the stories that abound are based on emotions and jealousy, okay? So don't rely on hearsay. Next, discuss compensation and benefits. 54% of employees say a strong sense of community kept them at the company longer. Merong openness, di ba? So, yung community, meaning merong openness to discuss things such as compensation and benefits. Prioritize professional development, especially at this age, no? Yung mga generations natin, they're very keen on professional development. So 75% of employees report if a company invested in helping them learn, they would stay longer. Okay. Shift to more flexible mindset. 64% of workers would consider quitting if asked to return to the office full time. So there was a controversy here, lalo na nung when companies are already asking their work from home employees to work, okay, in the office. Okay? So nagkaroon ng mga, di ba, yung tinatawag na mass resignations because people na experience na nila yung comfort, yung for so many reasons, no, they don't want to go back to the office. Okay? Some compromise and they know that yung mga companies nakipag-compromise and then nag-report sila once or twice a week sa offices. But they still prefer to work. Actually, hindi lang work from home, work anywhere. Okay? Evaluate feedback for employee exit interview. Why should you give an exit interview? Because it tells us why employees leave. Okay? It gives you insight into company problems and it gauges company culture. Exit interviews can help build brand ambassadors, mitigate risk of employees doing harm, and give employees a platform to air grievances. Ask questions about the work culture, management, their roles, their reasons for leaving, and their future. Recently, I talked to uh, a company, and one of their practices was, and I will share this with you. Sabi nila kasi they don't, while an exit interview is important, it can help you, but it's already an exit interview. So they devise um, an interview that will mimic yung exit. Okay, they have regular discussions or conversations where they ask an employee na questions like am I failing you as a manager? Kasi we know no, for a fact and research shows that people leave primarily because of their bosses. Okay? So if we can actually, have a feel of the pulse of the employee at a certain period in their employment regularly by asking questions that may mimic an exit interview, then the information that we will get will be very helpful. Okay? So dito, uh, the focus is not just on the exit interview, but also yung mga conversations that will elicit responses so that we will know if there is an issue, if there are issues, and if we are going to lose a certain employee because his requirements or his needs are not being met. Okay? So, reducing attrition pa rin tayo through career development. Of course, what we want is to minimize attrition kasi para stable yung workforce natin, and then we can preserve yung knowledge that we already have, okay? And we can foster a positive work culture. We also know for a fact that pag mataas yung turnover, okay, hindi lang ma-disrupt yung workflow or ma-reduce inventory, but ma-reduce yung productivity, but it will also increase our costs, no? So ano ba yung reasons for employee attrition? Number one is of course voluntary resignations. Number two, pag nagkaroon ng mga organizational changes, nag-reconstruct yung company, okay, aalis yung mga empleyado or paaalisin, di ba? And then there is a shift in business strategy, okay? When we outsource certain jobs, if there are technological advances that, we acquire a certain piece of equipment that will be more productive, and alam naman natin that when we do that, part ng feasibility study is uh, the the cost of the employee that will be replaced. Okay? Part ng feasibility study yon. Okay? So, and then financial difficulties if the company is not um, reaching its business goals, then it has to cut some fat. And usually what they look at is are people to they separate people and then that's it. Okay? So next is that was my last slide. Okay? And if you have questions, I hope that I can answer them. Do you have any questions? If there are no questions or comments, I will give the floor to Lester.
Hi, sir. Once again, hi everyone. I've I've shared our training link or our exposure evaluation webinar link. So kindly answer the forms as well. And while you're answering the forms as well, I'd like to show our upcoming training schedules for regarding HR training. So for our first training, it would be certified talent practitioner. These would be plotted on the following dates: July 3 and 4, Certified People Analytics Practitioner, September 17 to 18, and Strategic Competency Modeling Workshop, that would be on August 8 to 9, HR Leadership Business Intensive Bootcamp, that would be October 21 to 24, Agile HR Workshop, that would be August 10 to 11, Digital HR Overview AI Powered, that would be a one-day September 25, and Certified HR Tech Specialist, September 4 to 5. And once again, just like what I stated earlier, there would be an exclusive offer for our webinar attendees. So this would be a discount of up to 10% off. So that would be a 5% discount to our attendees, and to those that bring a buddy, you can get a 10% off if you invite a colleague as well. And lastly, we would offer as well a customized TNA or a training needs analysis and a 10% discount for customized trainings. And with that, if you have any questions regarding these training offers, then kindly email us at training@Apex Global Learning. So with that, if there are no more questions as well to Sir Norman and to from the participants, once again, thank you everyone. Thank you, Sir Norman, for joining us in our session. Thank you.
Have a good day, everyone.
Have a good day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.